So, good morning, everybody. I'm Dipanjan Ghosh. Today, I want to discuss about the human endocrine system. And we know basically the human endocrine system is made up of different endocrine glands. And if we look forward towards different endocrine glands, then we see the human endocrine glands are hypothalamus, pituitary, pineal gland, thyroid, parathyroid, pancreas, adrenal gland, testis, and ovary. They all are endocrine in nature, and we know basically hypothalamus is just situated is just the beneath portions of the thymus, and for remember we have to keep remember the third ventricle, and different releasing hormones are actually secreted from here, that is GHRH or PRH or PIH or MRH or ARH. So different releasing hormones are secreted from here, and in case of pituitary, that is which is called the hypophysis mm, mm, cerebri, that is we know from the anterior portions of pituitary, basically somatotropic hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, adrenocorticotropic hormone, gonotropic hormone, and prolactin are released from anterior portions. A melanocyte stimulating hormone is secreted from the middle portions, and the posterior portions secrete basically the antidiuretic hormone and oxytocin. And if we come to the aspect of pineal body, then we see basically melatonin, and the gonotropic inhibiting peptide is actually secreted um, from pineal bone. Next, thymus gland basically secrete thymosin, and the thyroid gland secretes the thiothyroid and thyroxine T3 and T4. We know how do the iodine is actually attached to it tyrosine, and it will conform monoiodotyrosines. We know the mechanisms. And next, parathyroid basically secrete parathormone. The adrenal gland, we know this is called the suprarenal gland, as it is situated just the upper portions of the kidney, and basically it has been classified in the cortical portions, which is called the adrenal cortex, and the medullary portions, the adrenal media. Adrenal cortex, the cortex part basically secrete glucocorticoids, mineralocorticoids, and steroids, we know, and adrenal media basically adrenaline and noradrenaline. Then the pancreas, we know, pancreas basically contain four types of cell: alpha cell, beta cell, delta cell, and polypeptide secretory cell. So alpha cell basically secrete glucagon, and beta cell insulin, delta cell somatostatin, and the pancreatic polypeptide cell basically secrete the polypeptide hormone. And besides it, we know testis and ovary are associated with endocrine systems, and testis basically secrete testosterone, DHT, and androstenedione, whereas ovary is actually secrete basically the basically estrogen, progesterone, and reaction. So basically, and if we do make a comparisons between the yokai hormone with trophic hormone, then we know basically yokai hormone is do its functions to the origination place. That is, it will do the functions where it is actually originated. But in case of trophic hormone, we see basically trophic hormone will do the functions to far away from its source. And in case of yokai hormone, that will not stimulate the another ductus gland. Basically, testosterone, gastrin, and secretin are included within yokai hormone. But in case of trophic hormone, basically adrenocorticotropic hormone, gonotropic hormone, and thyroid stimulating hormone. Now I come to the aspect of hypothalamus. Basically, as hypothalamus regulates the functions of pituitary, the secretions of pituitary, so that's why hypothalamus is called the supreme commander. And we know hypothalamus basically secretes different releasing factors, which is called the neurohormone. What I had mentioned to my previous class, that is why the hypothalamic secretion is called the neurohormone, because the neurohormones are releasing factors. That is the adrenocorticotropic releasing hormone, ARH, thyrotrophin releasing hormone, somatotropin releasing hormone, GHRH, growth releasing hormone, gonadotrophin releasing hormone GnRH, prolactin releasing hormone, prolactin inhibiting hormone PIH, melanocyte releasing hormone, and melanocyte inhibiting hormone. So we have seen basically it will do the functions by doing secretions, by releasing some hormones, neurohormones. So that's why releasing hormones, and some feedback functions, that is the some inhibiting hormone also secreted from here. And if we go to the anatomy of pituitary, then we can find out that is basically it contains the anterior lobe, which is called the adenohypophysis, and the posterior part, posterior lobe, is called the neurohypophysis, and the small part presents just between the between two lobes, basically known as the pars intermedia. And we know from the anterior portions of pituitary basically secretes basically contain 5 glandular tissue, and they are called the somatotrophs, corticotrophs, thyrotropes, monotrophs, and electrotrophs. Somatotrophs basically secrete associated with growth hormone, corticotrophs, that is the adrenocorticotrophic hormone, thyrotropes are thyroid stimulating hormone, gonadotrophs are luteinizing hormone and follicular stimulating hormone, and electrotrophs are prolactin. So that we secrete from the anterior portions of pituitary. Whereas we know basically from the and they are associated with different functions, such as in case of somatotropic hormone, basically secreted from anterior pituitary and proteinous in nature and associated with growth. And due to excessive secretions of somatotropic hormone, we know the gigantisms and acromegaly, such type of disease occur. Whereas for the S secretions of STH, dwarfism occurs. Now the adrenocorticotropic hormone, it is secreted. It is a polypeptide in nature, secreted from anterior pituitary, and do the functions to the cortex region of the adrenal gland. And whenever we know basically whenever the adrenal secretions, that is the adrenal cortex secretions, is actually elevated, then we know one type of disease, that is the Cushing's disease, is actually Cushing syndrome, is actually occurred due to the irregular secretion, irregular and excessive secretions of ACTH. Now I come to the aspect of thyrotrophic hormone. Basically, it is a glycoprotein, and in nature, the hormone is glycoprotein in nature, secreted from pituitary, and basically it regulates the functions of thyroid gland. And we know basically whenever the thyroid secretions, irregular secretion, effects of irregular secretions can lead to the goiter. And now the gonadotropic hormone, basically we know this is also a glycoprotein in nature, just like a TSH, and it affects on gonad, and then it is called the hypothalamo pituitary gonadal axis. It will do the functions whenever the secretions is associated with gonad, then it is called the hypothalamo pituitary gonadal axis. And basically we know GTRH are of two types, one is FSH and another is the AH. So first of all, follicular stimulating hormone, basically that particular hormone acts on Graafian follicle, and maturations, the maturations of that, and the estrogen secretions and ovulations is actually determined by it. And the luteinizing hormones, basically in case of female, we know that is associated with the corpus luteum formations, and it secretes the progesterone basically. And we know in case of male, it stimulates the Leydig cells and secrete testosterone on and that's why in case of male, this is called the interstitial cell stimulating hormone. And eutotrophic hormone, basically protein in nature and secret from anterior pituitary, and it affects on the mammary gland of female, and functions, basically we know basically it helps the lactation process, and it also helps for the secretions of secretions of basically ovum. Okay. And now I come to the aspect of prolactin releasing hormone and prolactin inhibiting hormone, basically which regulates the prolactin secretions. And if we come to the posterior pituitary portions, then we can see basically posterior pituitary are associated with the secretions of two important hormone. Basically, one is antithyrotic hormone, which is called the vasopressin, or basically the pitressin. The another name of ADH is pitressin, whereas the another hormone is the oxytocin or pitocin. So that vasopressin is the polypeptide hormone which is secreted from the posterior pituitary and come to the beard, and it will help for the water absorptions to the renal tube. Why it is called vasopressin? Because it will come to the it is secreted from pituitary and mixed to the beard and come to the renal tube, and there it helps for the reabsorption of water as well as it regulates the blood pressure. So that's why it is named so. And besides it, we know basically non no, there is some secretory functions and non-secretory functions also associated with it, and chloride reabsorptions, and there are different sorts of functions of that vasopressin ADH hormone. And the another hormone basically we know that is the oxytocin, which are also protein in nature, and this is basically neurohormone secreted from synthesis to the hypothalamus and come to the blood from pituitary, uh, and it will help for the contractions of the uterus during the parturition process, and it helps the secretions of milk, and basically it will be generated from the PVN, that is the paraventricular nucleus of hypothalamus, and it will just restoration just deposited to the posterior pituitary. And the functions of particular oxytocin hormone is to the secretions of ejaculations, effect on uterus, transportation of semen. So different functions is actually occurred by the help of that oxytocin hormone. And if we see the contour of pituitary secretions by hypothalamus, then we can find out the hypophyseal portal system. That is the how do it associate with the hypothalamic hypophyseal portal vessels, uh, and so this is very crucial, and we know that is in case of posterior pituitary it is regulated by the ADH, and basically there is a very much correlations between the hypothalamus with posterior pituitary, and ADH and oxytocins already I have mentioned have synthesized from to the SON and PVN, that is the supraoptic nucleus and paraventricular nucleus, and it will actually transported through the hypothalamic hypophyseal tract, and it will reach to the posterior pituitary. And whenever there is the nervous stimulation, the neuronal stimulation is actually come to the posterior pituitary, then that type of posterior pituitary secretes that particular hormone, um, and that is it is basically regulated by the hypothalamus. Okay. And so we have seen basically disorders of pituitary gland. There is some disorders and pituitary glands, and related some diseases also. Basically whenever the hyposecretions of pituitary gland and there is the hypersecretions of pituitary gland, we know we have already read about dwarfism and Simon disease. Whenever there is the degenerations of the anterior pituitary, that is whenever the activity of pituitary is actually lost, then the adrenal cortex, thyroid, and the sexual gland is actually suppressed, and we see a disease which is called the Simon disease is actually um, um, occurred during that time, and different symptoms have been found due to Simon disease. So we have seen that particular disease is due to the suppresses activity of the adrenal cortex, thyroid, and sexual gland. We have seen, and that is due to the due to the hypoactivity of due to the loss of the activity of the pituitary gland. And in that cases, particular cases, we see weight loss basically occurred. Basically, muscles become weak, mental retardation occurs, the adrenal cortex functions of adrenal cortex become lost. So different types of symptoms have been found here. And we know basically whenever I come to the aspect of hyposecretions of the anterior pituitary, then the dwarfism already I have mentioned due to yes secretions of the somatotropic hormone. So this is all about the hyposecretions of pituitary, and hypersecretions can lead to the acromegaly already I have mentioned due to excessive secretions of growth hormone, already what I have mentioned. Um, so this is all about pituitary. Thank you.